Mentoring techniques and practices. This is the topic that we'll cover in this particular presentation. So, the agenda is simple and straightforward, very much for every one of us to understand. There's nothing much to be described around here, but nevertheless, we will talk of everything about the mentors, the mentoring, the telling and advising, and so on and so forth that comes around here. So, how does a team science factor in and thereby? So there's no formula for perfect mentor as such. As in, if I just wanted to say that who is a better mentor, who is a better leader, who is a better coach, who is a better guru, for that matter, it differs from person to person. And most importantly, at times it doesn't depend on the mentor itself. Probably the mentee has to have a fascination altogether. So there is no set formula for perfect mentor, but nevertheless, we will try to address the very broad key issues that is to be there. So let me assess to you as to what is the difference. Now, we as a person, as an individual, we play a different roles, at several point of the day, several point of our life, we play different roles as a, let's say, as an investigator, as a clinician, as a co-director, as a supervisor, as a mentor, as a coach, as a mentee ourselves, as a family person, as a family you have a role to play, uh, and there are plentiful of roles that comes around it. Similarly, within your teams it will be a team lead, division heads, branch head, departmental director, project sponsor, you name it and we have it. And I have kept those jotted line for you to understand that this is true, because whatever has been mentioned will always be carried forward, and this is a list which is incomplete, which I indicated in my previous slide too. So we have different strength. We need to go across it, and we will do the same thing. So let us understand what are the different strengths that we actually have in the process altogether. So we have research, analysis, design, interpretation, future direction, teaching, vulnerability. Now, each of these can be a strength, can be a co-strength, can be an adversary, can be anything that you want to go around it, right? People might be possessive, people might be delegating, people might be power centric, power hungry, influencing, persuading, collaborating, working independently, sharing, humility, you name it, and we have. So these might be your strength. Some might consider how can humility be a strength, or how can working independently be a strength with an age of teamwork, group work, the way you want to go around it. So I am not going to tell as in a particular weakness or strength. It is an attribute on which you can capitalize upon it. Remember, that is what I would love to state as a strength. Any attributes which you can capitalize to your benefits, and probably your interest is taken care of, we can always say so. So as a mentee wants different thing also. If I have a mentor, I have said the same thing. It similarly can be said about the mentees. Mentees want different things. Why does the mentoring things help? Mentoring techniques help altogether. So it helps, it guides, it gives an insight, it speaks challenges to learn the secret, brainstorming partner, oral presentation, introduction to others, someone to identify, opportunities to present, grant writing skill, collaboration skills, you name it, we got it. And I am deliberately in this particular presentation, I'm just giving you a list which is incomplete, because it is possibly um, it is possibly very difficult to encapsulate everything under one particular slides and under one particular taste. What might look good for you might look good or skewed towards me. So the way you want to go around it. So mentees have all different requirements that comes across. So we need to understand this thing at the best possible scenario. So let us understand mentoring. Mentoring is an important component of what we do. Yes, definitely. Wherein we slowly, steadily, and consciously, most important word is consciously, we try to transfer some amount of knowledge, skills, experiences, attributes towards the mentoree. Supervisory may be the best primary example. Multiple mentors may be valuable. One on one, committees, It is essentially a two-way street. Definitely, yes. That is what mentoring would be all about. It defining a mentoring process. There's formal versus informal, goal versus topic, task driven, frequent versus infrequent meetings, degree, level of guidance, accountability, both sides. Now, this is what we are looking into. As a both side, I have been saying about both the mentor and the mentee, or the supervisor and the employee. The way we want to go around it, it can be formal, it can be informal, goal versus topic, or task driven, frequent versus infrequent meetings, degrees, level of guidances, accountability, both sides. What does the mentee want out of it? The mentor, as the case might be. So we'll talk about situational mentorships. And, let's say on behaviors, if you plot it on the y-axis and directive behaviors on x-axis, so supportive behavior on y-axis and directive behavior. So directive behavior is you've been actually been told to do. You are not been solicited any information. Whereas supportive behavior, there's a two-way communication that comes around it. So in case of when directive behavior is low and supportive behavior is also low, it's delegating probably. It's low directive and low supportive. But when it is high directive, high supportive is wherein basically directing, it's giving you resources, giving you instruction, giving you stating you what is to be done. But what happens when there's a low directives and high supportive? No matter what broad guidelines have been given to you and you are supposed to fend for yourself, it's absolutely high supportive and but low directive altogether. It's a supporting role. And whereas in a coaching is not only high directive but also high supportive, been very focused and been very things. Now this I have been taking it from Kenneth Plackard's and Paul Hirsch's situational leadership skills, as the case might be, going around it. And I suppose everybody can understand between delegating, supporting, coaching, and directing scenario comes around it. So there can be challenges. Mentees can consume you, be unfocused, not follow through, be manipulative, be unwilling to commit to a relationship. Mentors can burn out too, run out into syndromes where issues really need professional help, forget boundaries, find themselves in difficult situations. For example, it can be ethicals, it can be favors. You look at it, and we are looking into a conundrum of situation that comes around it, and there lies the challenges thereby. So the mentoring plan, let us have a plan. Consider having a mentee, develop a mentoring plan as to what are the milestones that needs to be covered, what are the tricks, what are the traits, what are the characteristics, what are the confidence level that needs to be built upon based on your questions and discussion about how will you work together. Plan can include setting professional goals, how they will achieve the goals, role of a mentor in the career development, what they expect from the mentor, when mentor can expect of them all together. This is what we are looking out here. The scheduled meeting, when you can listen actively, pay attention, look at the person you're talking to, wipe all the thoughts of your mind, show that you are listening, nod, smile. Check in to be sure you're understanding it. This is what we are looking around it. Paraphrase, summarize what they have told you. Ask, clarify, doubts your questions, anything that comes in your mind. Do not judge. I repeat, do not judge. Don't interrupt before they finish their thoughts altogether. Respond appropriately. Be honest. Be clear. Be and have dignity. Have this sense of humbleness in you. So you need to understand when you schedule meeting, you should be all attended, all ears all together. Absolutely. And in case there are issues which you do not understand, so please point it out, clarify your doubts, everything, every time you encounter it. Mentoring, on the other hand, is should be a mentor should be a trusted friend, a senior colleague, a person whom you look up to. Some institute creates mentoring programs in which newcomers appear, definitely with more experiences. Explain how the department institutions work. Assist with their mentees' careers by offering encouragement, sharing knowledge, providing growth and experiences. Encourage professional behaviors by setting high performance expectation and performance teaching by example, inspiring mentees. So gives wise counsel by offering advices on the solutions to the problem thereby. So that is what would be the mentoring would always be included into it. Let us understand coaching. The coach helps the individuals uncover existing strengths and abilities to develop strategies and action plans to achieve these goals. A coach helps holds mentee accountable to themselves through continued interactions and challenging them as often as possible. That is what we are looking into it. So It helps client discover their own paths, desired goals. That is the objective that comes around it. Invite employee to come up with their own thoughts, ideas, strategies. Help employees develop clarity about what he or she wants to accomplish, wants to cover up, and that is what should be the idea around here, and that is what coaching is should be about. Coaching is continuously feedback, continuously, and when I say feedback, it not, it has to be a proactive feedback. It should ideally tell them what is going wrong and how to improvise or capitalize on the strength and probably eliminates the weaknesses of late. So, as a mentor, as a coach, is it entirely possible to be a mentor or probably a coach? It is. I definitely believe that a person who can successfully meld the two approaches and can provide one and other depending on the needs and the issues of the mentee. If you can understand the concepts of mentee, the emotional attributes of mentee, probably this is where you can actually go out and take care of it. So choose the best approach. In what situation would you prefer to approach? Tell someone how to handle the situation, sharing experiences. You could have done it in a better position. Ask a series of questions that will help the individual to self-discover the best solution to the issues as the case might be. This is what we are looking forward to. Yes, definitely. So, mentoring in the age of team science and collaboration thereby. So, how do you go around it? Now, basically, nowadays, what when I say in the age of team sciences, collaboration is all about data, is all about networks, all about instant information and credible information that we going around it. Probably. If information is not the right word, probably data would be made available, and based on data, how do you collate those data? How do you mine those data? And arrive to a decision is how we going to go around it, and that is what mentoring would always be. Let's say absolutely on y-axis is the self identity and group identity. If you look into it, in the y-axis we are all focused on the self, and when a group axis on a larger time frame, it's the concern from people come in. Similarly, when I am concerned from self identity, I'm almost independent, but when I move towards on the group, I become more interdependent, more dependent on the other fellow. So, what is the thing that we prize ourselves as in status, power, autonomy, and that can only be looked forward with an interactions of multiple interdependence that comes around it. Now, this is where we are talking about the mentoring techniques and practices that comes around it. It's high interaction, high integration, multiple interdependent leaders that comes around, and that is what we are looking forward to. So this is collaboration. Remember, with every collaboration, there is something which we might lose certain of our grounds that comes around it. So, model of team development, I have been trying to tell it to you. It's forming in the first stage where actually people have been introduced. Then comes the storming, wherein people are probably intriguing into each other's space, and people have been able to find out what is the right way of right way of working with each other's modalities that needs to be decided upon. It is the storming stage that comes around it, and probably we come into the norming stage when we understand each other in a much better fashion, and we work in tandem with one another, and that is what norming situation is all about it, which then comes the performing situation, when there is a bond that has been filled, and right from the introduction stage to the fighting stage to the norming stage, and then everybody starts performing. So out here, once you achieve the objectives, you might go for a journey or transforming into a new form, new project, new things, or it can go to the next format, and this continues to go around it. The project goes around, people are working in tandem with one another, and things like this will keep on forming upon it. And that is what we are looking for, right? So the participating shouldn't be risky. Definitely, yes, it shouldn't be risky, but definitely there is a conundrum that goes up before it normalizes. So on an x-axis, what we do is the risk factor. On the y-axis, sorry, on the x-axis is the career status, and on the y-axis the risk factor. So you remember when the risk is high, the return is high. When the risk is low, you are more or less you are the same status quo. So we as a grad student, post doc, tenure track, early career tenure, established, and things like that is the is a risk factor that comes around it. Earlier on, we are in a stable stage, but when we start taking risk, increase our qualification or increase anything for that matter, there's a high risk, but the performance improves. And before it, we actually get accustomed to those things, right? In a job role, in a profile, and then it becomes as a result, the risk also lessen down before you actually stress and continue to work along with it, right? And that is what we are looking forward. That is what is happening around here. So what should be done is the higher the risk, the higher the and you will achieve much better. If you want to apply, keep on performing. Why don't you take a risk from here and then move around here? So you can move this graph again and again, and then that is the secret between why certain people are much more successful and some people are just not. So participating shouldn't be risky, definitely yes. Now, if you don't take the risk, probably you don't move it. And if you take calculated risk, see the amount of gain that you go around it. Absolutely, the carrier status doesn't establish yourself absolutely there, and that is what should be around it. Participating shouldn't be risky as the case might be. So motivating team factors, as I would love to wind up this particular presentation. How do we motivate team factors? Is first and foremost thing is having our essential work, as in your priorities and objectives are set. Then probably we'll have these competencies that comes around it, the strength that everybody brings into it, and the passion, the follow through, the belief, the trust that each one of them has. That's what engages around it. Remember, this is the point. The overlapping of essentials of work, passion, and strength is the sweet spot. So where everybody has in unison and everybody works to provide the excellence, the highest of all excellence that goes around it, where individuals are mostly valued and their contributions are never ignored. So maximize the value of each individual. That is what I would be trying to tell it to you as a mentoring techniques. So aim to increase the overlapping of these three circles while the keeping in mind the changing content within each circle. So everything in this circle, all these three can be into one circle, and that's the common area, the sweet spot. You have reached the epitome of being mentor, a wonderful mentor that you go around it to be. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.